I was very curious about the dark web about 2 years ago. I found out how to access it. I downloaded a Tor client on my smartphone and spent like 30 minutes trying to figure out how to surf it and not get bombarded with ads and such. The dark web is really hard to navigate. There's no Google for it. If the dark site can be found with a dark search engine, then it isn't that bad. Just a bunch of illegal stuff. Everything costs money though. Anything worth hiding on the dark web is worth a few bucks of cryptocurrency apparently. Well, I hadn't had any bitcoins for a few years. I had pulled out, so the only thing available for free was text. So what rabbit hole did I fall into, you may ask? I completely read a human cookbook. It was well written, no spelling or grammar mistakes, and no fluff. It was matter of fact. It had everything from how to stalk your victims, to what age gender tasted better, to text-based butcher portions, to how to gather and cook the blood, how to host a human steak party, to the more cruel way of keeping your meal. I mean victim, alive and fresh, while you ate a limb a week. It was way grosser than I am willing to explain. I was both disgusted and intrigued and couldn't sleep that night. And for the next few weeks, I couldn't look at any strangers in public for more than 2 seconds before the words came flushing back into my memory. My brain told me she would be a perfect candidate for a meal. Or, why is she walking alone in this area? Doesn't she know she's the perfect age for human steaks? It took me 2 to 3 weeks to suppress those thoughts. It was just a morbid curiosity that I had given into. It was horrible, that's all I know, and I never dared to surf on the dark web ever again. I live in India and people here seldom have any knowledge about dark web. Even for the time I thought that I was the only one in my area who surfed on dark web. But oh boy, I was so wrong. It all started with a peculiar chat room I came across while poking around the dark web. It felt like stumbling into a secret club meeting, and let me tell you, I shouldn't have clicked that link. It turned out to be the biggest blunder of my life. These people were like devotees in a spooky cult, and they were singing praises to goddess Kali, who by the way is the Hindu goddess of destruction. It was the first Indian group I'd come across on the dark web, and I knew a fair bit about Kali Ma to start with. Then things took a dark twist. Everyone started pouring out their tales of misery, sharing all the bad stuff happening in their lives. The admin of this eerie gathering then dropped a bombshell, suggesting that our misfortunes could be wiped away with a rather horrifying solution. A human sacrifice. Believe it or not, many of them started volunteering, claiming their lives were utterly meaningless. Now, I wasn't feeling suicidal like them, but I was just goofing around, so without giving any thought, I also agreed to give an oblation. But then, out of nowhere, my computer screen went pitch black, and a message in big, bold letters started flashing before my eyes. We choose you, Prida Sharma. You will give your head in the name of Kali Ma, for the well-being of all of us. We bestow upon you this honor. My head throbbed and panic surged as I tried to regain control of my laptop, only to find it helplessly compromised. I tried to shut it down, but all in vain, so I just removed its battery and crept into my bed under the sheets. No one was home that night except me and my little brother Ishan. My mom was in a nearby house for Jagran, and Dad was out of town. I comforted myself with the belief that all of this was a lame joke by some unemployed shitheads who got kicked by cyberbullying 15 years old. No one was coming for me. But what if it was all true? If they could hack my laptop, they might come for me. It was no big deal for them to track me down. After double-checking the front and back doors of my house, I went in Ishan's room to check on him and found him safe and sound, sleeping like an angel in his crib. I kissed him on his forehead and lay down on the bed beside his crib. I thought of calling my mother, but I didn't want to ruin her night just because I had a hunch that someone was going to murder me. Really, I was not in my best mind that day. In middle of night, I woke up as I heard a loud bang and a grunt after that. Someone was in the house. Holy crap. I forgot about the terrace door. I tried in vain to push the sofa with all the strength a 15 years old could gather, to place it in front of my room's door because its latch was broken. But then I started hearing groaning and whimpering like someone was in pain. I opened the door cautiously and turned the hallway lights on. A big beastly man who was wearing a black mask was lying on the ground near staircase. There was broken Lego castle and its pieces lying around the man, which me and my brother made some time ago. My brother was playing with it on the middle landing of the staircase that evening. The man was gasping for air as he was lying in the pool of his own blood, a hatchet lying beside him. Basically, he fell down from the stairs, tripping on the Lego castle, which he was not able to decipher in dark, and cracked his skull. I felt like puking. I picked up Ashan, who was surprisingly still asleep, and ran outside to Jagran venue. I found my mother and told her about a burglar in our house. My mother and neighbors called the police on the scene, and the man was taken to the hospital. Doctors weren't able to save him. I concluded that it was my fault entirely, as the man was the member of the cult group, and he had come to kill me. But I didn't dare to tell my parents about my dark web misadventure. I dread my father would kill me. The police arrived promptly, but their conclusions clashed with my harrowing ordeal. They dismissed my dark web encounter as unrelated to the break-in, identifying the intruder as a local criminal, notorious for robberies. To them, it was nothing else but his another quest, which went wrong. What a crazy coincidence that on that very night I had received a death threat, and surprisingly, after 4 to 5 hours later, a man broke in our house carrying a hatchet. Whatever the case was, one fact remains true, that I was traumatized for life. Maybe I might got killed that night because I was such a dumbass is more than enough for me. But also the fact that I put my little brother's life in danger, I can never forgive myself for that. I never went on dark web after that incident. I still dread that one day, when everyone is fast asleep, a big beastly man wearing a black mask would come, and he would take my head in the name of Kali Ma.